Back on with the LC water pump seal. Just taking the top cover off, taking the kickstart off, and taking the water pump cover off as well. You can see it's rather rusty in there. The actual faceplate is very corroded, so that'll need a clean up. Bought a kit of bits from, hey look, eBay. It's not official Yamaha stuff, but let's have a look what we've got in here. So it all comes in one kit. It's got an outer gasket, bag. It's got the seal, it's got the bearing, and somewhere in the envelope there's also this sort of outer sort of snail shaped seal as well. So let's see if this all goes together. Obviously the first job is to get this side cover off. So it's a M5 Allen key and a flat-headed screwdriver. Oh, and the cover, the water pump cover, takes an M4 Allen key. And then once it's off, I'll be cleaning the gaskets up using bare brake fluid and brass brush. Something I've done for years and seems to work for me, so no reason why not to use it on this one. So you saw the inside of this on the last video. What I want to do is try and change the bearing and seal without taking off the oil pump pipes, so I don't have to bleed the oil pump up, and then clean all the gasket areas up, stick it all back together. That's the plan, and let's see if we can achieve it. So get to the bearing and the seal, you need to take this circlet off, take that little gear off, and then slide the impeller out, and that will reveal the seal and the bearing. So once you've taken the gear off, that's what you can see. To get the impeller out, just move that pin out of the way, that's slide the front off, and then you can see the bearing just there. So the impeller looks like that. A bit rusty, and I'll put the pin back in for now so I know where it is and where it goes onto the bearing and the seal. So there you can see the seal on the other side. So what I need to find now is a socket to fit in there, and then get a hammer and gently tap the bearing out. So using a 17mm socket and a copper hammer, just hitting against the face of the bearing, just get the face of the actual rubber seal. The bearing came out, and the old rubber seal. Now the new rubber seal, the rubber face faces outwards and the metal face faces inwards towards the bearing. So put the seal in and then put the bearing in. I'm going to put some rubber grease on the seal and the bearing just to help them get into the case, and I think looking at that could do just with a little bit of wipe down as well. So new seal in, as I said before, rubber side on this side facing out, and metal side on that side. As a general rule, the lip of a seal is always on the fluid side, but you've got fluid on both sides on this one. So, seals in, now onto the bearing. And there's the bearing in, with a couple of little taps from a 24mm socket. So we will start putting all this back together again. Just used a drill with a brass brush on, just to get rid of some of the wear on the actual impeller shaft. It should be good this time. Just going to put some grease on the actual shaft itself, and then put it into the bearing, and then put that little crossbar across it. Stick the gear on top of it, and circle it, washer, and then that part will be completed. So I've cleaned off this plate as best as I can, still rather pitted. It's looking better than it was before. I've got the gasket for the water pump. I'm also going to use a smear of blue Hollimar as well, because the faces aren't great. It's an old bike now. You can have threads that pull the face not flat anymore, so I'm going to use this as a jointing compound as well, so it all sort of comes together and doesn't leak. I usually put it on either side of the paper gasket. So we had a little bit of a thunderstorm here. It's looking a bit grim. I quickly Hollimar'd the big gasket between the outer case and the inner case, and screwed it all together. So it's all back together now. Put the kickstart on, back on again. The old bearing that was in there, that is absolutely knackered, so it was good to change that. Rather grumbly, rather rough. I seem to be missing a bolt. I must have had it missing before, so I'll need to get a bolt for it. But I've decided, I think what we'll do is this winter take the engine out and give it a proper refresh, because this engine's been in here for 10 years, so it's due a refresh. But it'll be okay for the summer. Needs a bit of a wipe down, and yeah, looks like we're ready to have a ride.